Hey, let's get right to it. You already know how this gonna go. It's a crazy situation right here. Let's get back over here on King Supreme TV. Cause yeah, man, we monetize over here, man. So where you guys at? Shout out to Scoop for popping up and stepping up, man. We in the building. We live. Live direct in full effect. Hey man, it's time to put everything in check. I'm talking about everything. Man, let me check the audio real quick. And then we're gonna get right down to business. So another one bites the dust, but like I said, man, I'm not celebrating none of this, man. I'm just here to call out the stupidity, man. And this is crazy because I've covered so many of these stories, man, over the last few years, right? And the crazy part about it is this story has not made mainstream media. It is not it's not in mainstream media. I'm telling you, man, I've looked all over for this story, right? And you might see something on Facebook. I think JD Black covered it. And it's another cat. It's another cat who covered it too, man. And I'm gonna cover the video. But like I said, man, there's no there's nothing on mainstream media about this. And my thing is, where's the black women? I think I'm gonna cover a story right after this about an immigrant who hacked somebody and took their life, right? But salute to Shorty McGriff, all my people up in here. Now, this woman is pretty attractive, man. 23-year-old cutie, man. Nice body. Lovely young lady, right? So, like I say, I don't celebrate none of this, man. But I cover these stories because I like to bring these stories to people's attention, so that you guys can see the bigger picture. Now, what I've noticed over the last few years, a lot of black females have lost their lives by their white boyfriends or whatever. Now, you guys remember the story in Oakland. You guys remember the story in Oakland, man? Not Oakland, it was Vallejo. Was it like a month ago? I covered that story like a month ago where, you know, black chick was with a white dude and she got they found her body in this abandoned house. Looked like a trap house, right? And cold situation. He said, I ain't gonna be too much pushback from the sisters. Ain't gonna be too much pushback from the sisters. No, you're not gonna hear about this, right? They're gonna pretend like it's never happened. Now, the one that I did last month, it got a little mainstream coverage, but not so much. And then what's crazy about it is after he unalived her, this dude set himself on fire. That's a cold way to go out, man. That's a cold way to go out. You know what I'm saying? Now you unalive this woman and set yourself on fire. That's crazy. Let's get into this right here. I want y'all to listen to this audio. Hold on 1 second. Let me take it off this Bluetooth right here. Let's. 28-year-old white male named Stephen Heinrich killed 23-year-old Stasy Charles in Baton. A 28-year-old white male named Stephen Heinrich killed 23-year-old Stasy Charles in Baton Rouge this week. I'm going to show you a portion of the news report about the murder, and then I'm going to show you the bias that exists in the reporting that leads to injustice existing in our community.
2 a.m. Thursday. 23-year-old Stasy Charles is laying in the parking lot of this Old Hammond Highway apartment complex, bleeding out. Baton Rouge police say her ex-boyfriend, 28-year-old Stephen Heinrich, had stabbed her multiple times before crashing his car and setting himself on fire. Says the police didn't do much about it until they got a restraining order against him, which he was arrested for violating. However, he never served jail time.
After he violated the order of protection numerous times, they gave him probation.
At some point, he came down to Louisiana and began dating Charles. Soon after that, Heinrich was arrested for allegedly beating Charles. Commissioner Keena Kimball gave him a $2,500 bond and a restraining order. This was just 1 week before the stabbing.
So how does a man that has a flipping assault, like a harassment, has probation, is on have warrants, were able to slip through the system, get a $2,500 bail, and was able to go back to the same young lady that he harassed and kill her?
The WBRZ investigative unit has learned that at this hearing, the state did not have his complete criminal history, but did tell Commissioner Kimball that he had been arrested for violating a protective order in the past year.
Bias is baked into how we tell a story. The reporter here shows you the court, the person in the court who is responsible for setting the bond. The reporter says the state when she talks about the district attorney's office. Our district attorney here in Baton Rouge is Hilla Moore, a white man. The ADA who went to court that day was Steve Danielson, a white man, who did not request a 313 hearing, which would have given a 72-hour hold, did not request a higher bond, and did not request the ankle monitor. All of these things would have given the opportunity for the court to grant these things for the district attorney's office, but they never asked for these things. The question is why? And if the ADAs that show up for Hilla Moore don't ask these questions, the court granted what the district attorney asked for. Why don't reporters show the ADAs and refer to them by name instead of the state? Because some reporters are married to state representatives who happen to be MAGA Republicans who support Donald Trump and Jeff Landry. Bias is baked in. And you should understand that every time you see a report from Bess. The court granted what the district attorney asked for. So why didn't the district attorney's office ask for more? Hilla, we'd like those questions answered anytime you get up to a microphone to talk again. Reporters, we'd like you to name the district attorneys that show up, not just the black judges who grant the request of the district attorney's office.
Now, let me say this. Let me read what you said. Frederick said a certain a certain content creator that I respect to the fullest. Hold on. My bad. A certain content creators that I respect to the fullest is always suggesting that it be African and Caribbean women laying up with these devils, but it's FBA women too. Listen, man, I know who you're talking about, and I don't want to say nothing because you got dumbass people reporting stuff to like. I'm gonna just go ahead and say it. You got a lot of people in the FBA community, right? When they'll go report something back to Tariq Nasheed and say, "Oh man, Red said this." I'm not saying anything, man. I'm just speaking the truth. Like, it's not just African and Caribbean women. It's a lot of these FBA women laying up with these white men, being unalive. Come on, man. If you've been watching my channel for a while, you saw me do several live streams about these black chicks, and these are not Africans in tethers. These are FBA women who's dated white guys and lost their life. So we're not going to pretend like it's just tethers. We're not going to play that game over here. We're not going to do that. So what I'm doing is I got to rebrand my channel, man, because a lot of those FBA people, a lot of them are cool, but a lot of them are not. They're just, some of them are robots and followers, and they'll go back and report something to Tariq Nasheed like I'm saying something crazy about him when I'm just being real about what's going on. If you've been watching my channel for the last 2-3 years, you saw me cover stories where these black women, not Africans, not Caribbeans, foundational black American women dating these white guys, and they got unalive. Go back 3 months ago. You remember when I covered the story about the FBA chick in Maryland? Got in the car with this Mexican and he unalived her? Look at the story that I covered last month in the Bay Area. Black chick in Vallejo, unalived by this white guy. I don't know what she was doing in this abandoned house with him. We don't know. And then I spoke to this one chick. She kept saying, well, you don't know what they were doing. Well, what was she doing with him? It wasn't a romantic relationship. You don't know what it was. How could he lure her into some abandoned house? But the first thing one of these chicks tried to tell me, it wasn't no romantic relationship. You don't know what it was. You don't know what it was. You're just trying to save face because she was a black woman. They tried to tell me that chick in Vallejo, California wasn't involved in some type of romantic relationship with that white guy that took her out. I'm like, you don't know that? And a lot of black women have made fun of black men who lost their lives dating white women. And the first thing these Sims are gonna say, this is gender war content. Man, I'm sick of you weak ass people, man. At some point, you gotta admit the truth, even if it's your people that's doing it, man. How can FBA people ever learn if we're not going to be honest about what's going on? All I said is we got to stop saying these are tethers all the time, because a lot of times they're not tethers. These are FBA people. Shout out to JD Black, though, man. I need you guys to bless the like button. It ain't nothing, man. One thing I don't like, this is why I got to create my own movement. I still rock with certain FBA people, but what I don't like is these kiss-ass people who are so fake that they won't admit that a lot of these women are FBA. Stop trying to blame it on tethers. No, Red, these women are Africans and tethers. Not all of them, man.
Shout out to everybody that's tuning in.
Shout out to my man JD Black, man. Appreciate you for dropping this content. I'm sick of that, man. I'm not kissing nobody's behind, man. If it's FBA people doing it, I'ma call it out. If it's tethers doing it, I'ma call it out. I'm not gonna sugarcoat my content for nobody's feelings, man. And if you feel like you don't want to rock with the channel no more because I'm being real, get the hell on. I don't want fake people over here anyway. I'm not gonna sit up here and tell you it was tethers when I know these were FBA people. I'm not gonna do that. I'm not gonna say it's FBA people when I know it was tethers. I'm gonna keep it a buck straight down the middle. Not gonna sit up here and lie to you about what's really going on, man.
I want to talk about a sad situation out of Louisiana. There's a 23-year-old female by the name of Stasy. I think that's how you pronounce it, Stasy Charles, because it's spelled differently. It's spelled with the S instead of the C that you would see in Stasy. She was in a relationship with a guy by the name of Stephen Heinrich Jr. Let me take a look at this. Y'all take a look at this. And I want y'all to draw some conclusions before I get going. Because Stephen lost his mind because he got rejected while dating her. I guess she didn't want to be with him anymore, or it was a situation where he wanted to exert control. He ended up knifing her to death. He unalived her. And he ended up unaliving himself, but in a very painful way. He rammed into another car and basically was caught on fire. And he died from those injuries. I mean, that's a horrific way to go, but it was either that or Angola. And he did not want to go to Angola. Now, let me say this. We're going to get to some things about her. Listen, there is a very untalked about crime that goes on in this country, probably other places as well, where you have white men taking the lives of black women that they have been intimate with. I've made several videos about it on this channel. I talked about the young lady from Connecticut. I don't even think the guy was charged, right? There was another situation where there was a young black female. She met this guy at a bar.
Nah, man, what I don't like about this movement, and you see, listen, I'm gonna be straight up with you. The reason why you don't see a lot of these FBA people over here no more, they get mad when I hold black women accountable. They don't get mad when I hold black men accountable. The reason that you don't see a lot of these FBA people rocking with my channel, because you got people in this FBA movement that's reporting stuff to other people saying, man, Red said this, Red said that, when all I ever did was hold people accountable. You know, I don't want to be a part of a movement if we can't hold people accountable. I don't want nothing to do with that. You know damn well a lot of these divestors are FBA women. Stop pretending like they're all tethers. I'm not going to play those games with y'all. Right? What I'm going to do is I'm going to say FBA content creator from a man's perspective. I'm not kissing nobody's behind, man. I'm not doing it. I got to call a spade over here. I'm not going to tell you this woman was a tether, knowing damn well she's a foundational black American. It's a lot of these divestors are FBA. I've been doing YouTube too long to not know what I'm talking about, bro.
crime that goes on in this country, probably other places as well, where you have white men taking the lives of black women that they have been intimate with. I've made several videos about it on this channel. I talked about the young lady from Connecticut. I don't even think the guy was charged, right? There was another situation where there was a young black female. She met this guy at a bar. And I think that same day or the next day, she went to his house and was never seen again. Next thing you know, he confesses to chopping her up and putting her remains in different places. And there's other stories like that. And it's never spotlighted. And I think it should be. But it's not talked about. But you know what's talked about, unfortunately? What's talked about is...
I'm not even mad at Tariq Nasheed. I respect what he's doing over there. What I'm saying is it's the fans, bro. It's not even Tariq Nasheed. It's the fans, bro. It's the subscribers, right? Anytime you hold black women accountable, they get in their feelings. They don't want people like me to call a spade a spade. 80%, 75 to 80% of black children are being raised by women. And it's a problem to talk about that. Women in this FBA movement don't want to hear you talk about, they don't want to hear you tell the truth. So my thing is this, I'm not going to make content. I got to make some different content. I'm not going to make content for people who don't want to hear the truth. I don't want people like that. How we going to fix these issues in our community if we're not being honest with ourselves about what's really going on out here? The first thing one of those people going to say, oh, Red, she's a tether. Do you know somebody tried to tell me this woman was a tether? Seriously. I had a clown email me and tell me that this woman was a tether. I had another clown try to tell me that the black woman in the Bay Area that got unalived by that white man, somebody tried to tell me she was a tether. Man, I'm sick of this.
You know, black men dating white women, and you know, those black men lose their life, and you know, you got people digging up tweets about how he didn't like black women or wanted white women, right? Well, the same thing has happened here, but I'm not going to get to it right now because I want to get to the story. I'm letting things settle. I'm letting things simmer because I'm not hiding nothing. I want as much information put out there as possible because we have to go into the mindset. This dude had domestic issues with other women before her. Before her, he had these issues. And I don't know if she knew about it or there were red flags that she just ignored, but this guy is giving off incel energy. When I saw this guy.
Shout out to JD Black, man. Much love and support. Yeah, man. It's the and like I said, I've been covering these stories too long, man. I did the one about the female in Connecticut. There was another chick in Houston who allowed the white man to unalive her 10-year-old child. I covered that story. I've covered a lot of these stories, and these are FBA women. I covered another story in Austin, Texas, where this black woman was with a white guy. He unalived her. I covered another story in San Diego, California, where the white guy unalived his black wife and threw her body in the Pacific Ocean. These are FBA women. They're not tethers.
He looked like a groiper. He looked like an incel. He looked like he don't get girls like that. You know, but he was able to date one or two black girls, and now all of a sudden, I guess that's who he dates, right? Because for him to go this far, to take this girl's life, lets me know that he not used to getting girls like that. He can't take rejection. He's not going to let this black girl reject him. So let's get into this story here. This is according to The Advocate. Out of Baton Rouge, Louisiana. A man is accused of knifing a 23-year-old woman to death before lighting himself on fire early Thursday. Died of his burn injuries. He went out bad. Yo, he went out bad. Sheesh. Friday afternoon, Baton Rouge police report. Listen, I'm not laughing at him. I'm laughing at this. Well, you could say I'm laughing at him, but I'm laughing at the.
So he unalived his 23-year-old girlfriend and set himself on fire. Something is seriously wrong with this dude. Something is seriously wrong with this dude. Like, I don't know what it is, but he set himself on fire. And think about this. Black women attract the craziest white men. Haven't you guys noticed that? They attract some of the most craziest, dangerous white men. This is what I'm gonna do, man. I'm gonna create a playlist for all the stories that I talked about, for all these divestiture stories. I'm gonna create a playlist so you can scroll down my whole playlist and you will see all the live streams that I cover with foundational Black American women getting unalived by these crazy white men. And no, these are not tethers, these are FBA women.
Situation, because this is how he decided to go out. He took the coward's way out, and he went out in a very horrific way. You know, this is why I think this dude probably was on meds. Stephen Heinrich Jr. knifed Stasy Charles multiple times early Thursday morning, leaving her to die before driving away and getting into a head-on collision, according to police reports. He then allegedly set himself on fire. Officers responding to the scene were able to extinguish the flames, and Heinrich was transported to the hospital. So he was still alive. He literally was burning in.
Damn, man. So this dude was still alive, man, after he reported this. That's crazy. Still alive after this is insane. Let's make sure that you guys bless the like button, man. Bless the super chat and bless the cash app for your boy. Let's get some love and support on this channel. Because guess what? I'm going hard in the paint for you guys, right? I'm going to talk about FBA stuff, but I got to speak on FBA stuff from my perspective, right? Because my perspective is unique. Because one thing I'm not going to do is sugarcoat what's going on with the men in our community. I'm not going to sugarcoat what's going on with the women in our community. I'm going to give it to you raw and uncut, unfiltered. I'm not going to sugarcoat the truth to coddle somebody's feelings. I'm not gonna do that, bro. If it's FBA women doing this diversion, that's what it is. If it's Black men cooning and doing Sambo stuff, I just gotta call it what it is. I'm not gonna sugarcoat this stuff for the sake of somebody's feelings. I'm not gonna do that. One thing we can't do in this community is fix the problems if we're not honest about what's going on and who's participating and this bedwenchery and this coonery. Shout out to JD Black for covering the story, because you don't see nobody covering this story besides JD Black, and it's another guy, I think it's called The Family or something. These are the only two guys that I've seen cover this story.
Y'all finish the sentence for me. He was literally on his way to burning, and y'all finish that out. You know, Heinrich died around 2 p.m. Friday. The Baton Rouge Police Department confirmed. Officers originally responded to the knifing around 2 a.m. Thursday on the 12,000 block of Old Hammond Highway. They found Charles on the ground in a parking lot, bleeding from multiple large stab wounds. Early reports from police say that Heinrich arrived at Charles' residence and began ramming his vehicle into hers. He then exited his vehicle and forcefully pulled Charles out of hers and knifed her repeatedly, police say.
So he stabbed her multiple times, man, and that's crazy that this happened to this woman, man. Then he said him like something had to be wrong with this dude, right? I don't know why these Black women meet these psycho white guys. See, what Black women don't realize is this, man. Like, when you guys get online and you tell everybody how much you hate Black men and you're just looking for a white man, you attract weirdos. You attract some of the craziest white guys. You attract weirdos. That one divester, I did a story on her from Houston, Texas. She allowed that white man to unalive her 10-year-old son. And they left his body sitting in a room for months. The body was decomposed. You know, it was a horrific scene when the police found out what was going on and they checked that apartment in Texas. I'm gonna show you guys a video right after this clip.
He fled the area, intentionally entering an oncoming lane of traffic and colliding head-on with another vehicle. While still seated in his vehicle, he lit himself on fire, and that didn't automatically take him up out of here. Police reported Baton Rouge police were first contacted by Charles on November 5th when she reported being beaten by Heinrich. He was arrested for battery of a dating partner that day. Heinrich posted a $2,500 bail and left jail. He was served with a protective order within 24 hours of his arrest. Heinrich had 6 other out-of-state protective orders for multiple women. Out of state, this is crazy. So you got this mentally unstable guy going from state to state collecting protective orders. I wonder why this situation was different. I wonder why, he decided to take her life, but none of the other women that served him protective orders. Is it because he felt like she was his property and he felt like she shouldn't have done this? This reminds me of the white football player playing for the Seattle Seahawks who beat his girlfriend, who he thought he beat her to death, but she survived. And the reason why he did is because she wouldn't bow down to him. So because she wouldn't bow down to him, he damn near beat her to death. So what changed in this situation to where he ultimately ended up taking this young girl's life? See, ladies, you cannot ignore the red flags. The red flags could be the end of your life. And again, when you take a look at her past and in her present as well, there were tweets that were posted. I have to bring this up because it plays a part into why she would be with a guy that has multiple out-of-state protective orders and why he reacted the way that he did. It's clear that she didn't vet this guy properly.
And she was a nice looking woman, man, but man, like I say, everything that looks nice ain't really good for you, right? So it just is what it is, right? It's crazy. Shout out to CJ Rich, man. CJ Rich says, salute, Red. Critical thinking is offensive in 2025. For soft, tragic. Folks, soft, tragic. This beautiful sister couldn't exercise more discretion. Yeah, man. Shout out to CJ Rich for the super chat. I appreciate you, bro.
She did not vet this guy properly. And I think it has to do with her mindset and the type of guys that she was choosing. Now, these posts are on social media. Now, I'm not going to look at these posts from, 2018, 2019, but let's go to 2025, where she said this about black men. This is, again, we're getting into the mindset. I can't leave any of this information out. I'm not about to disparage this young lady. These are some of the posts they put out.
Yeah, man, she was beautiful, a beautiful young lady, man. But she was on social media telling everybody how much she wanted white men, and she was a divester, though. A divester.
I'm putting this out here. Y'all can draw your own conclusions, but it's clear.
What I got to do is I got to shed more light on this, man, because a lot of our FBA men, they can't hold women accountable. If they say something about black women, then they got to say, well, black men. No, why don't you just talk about the women and save the men for another video? I'm not saying that you can't hold black men accountable, but you notice when these FBA men talk about the issues with women, they got to try to be so fair and balanced with the women instead of just saying, sisters, y'all need to quit doing this. Hey, brothers, I'm going to hold y'all accountable in a whole nother video. But they can't just talk about what's wrong with the women and what they're doing wrong. Because if they go all the way in, they'll lose support from the women in the FBA movement. So what they do is they tread lightly when it comes to criticizing the women, even when they deserve criticism. I'm not saying you got to talk about them every day, but most of these guys in these conscious communities, they have no criticism for the women. We got to listen. Black women on social media got a whole divestment movement. But you know what? I see these conscious dudes talking about passport bros. Are you gonna sit up there and talk about passport bros, but you're ignoring the fact that black women got a whole divestment movement up, a whole divestment movement? Are we really gonna talk about tethers and passport brothers? That's cool because I do it too. But at the same time, I gotta hold the women accountable when it's time to hold them accountable. I'm not gonna pretend like I don't see what I'm not gonna pretend like I don't see what's going on out here.
That she had a bit of a fetish for non-melanated men. And because of that fetish for non-melanated men, I think it might have cost her life because she ignored the red flags. I'm not about to disparage this young lady. These are some of the posts they put out.
Yeah, she said engines be so dirty and burnt out. So she spent a lot of time talking crazy about black men, and she worshiped the same guy that unalived her. Who did she get unalived by? The same group of men that she worshiped and praised. She was talking greasy about black men online. She was talking greasy about us. I'm going to say this, man. You're not going to see no brothers in the conscious community cover this story. They're not. I bet I bet my bottom dollar on it. You ain't gonna see no brothers in the black community who make conscious content. You're not gonna see any one of these guys cover these stories about these divestors who happen to be FBA women. You're not gonna see them cover this. They're gonna ignore it and talk about tethers all day. And I'm not talking about nobody in particular. I just listen, homie, we could do a whole lot better besides just talking about tethers all day. We got divestors who hate black men. And I don't see none of these brothers in the conscious community covering content like this. I just don't see them.
I'm putting this out here. Y'all can draw your own conclusions. But it's clear that she had a bit of a fetish for non-melanated men. And because of that fetish for non-melanated men, I think it might have cost her life because she ignored the red flags. Ladies, never ignore the red flags. But she did, ultimately. She should 100%.
Listen, bro. If we scared to tell the truth, if we stray away from the truth because we scared to lose financial support from women, then that means we're lost. It's a lost cause, bro. We got to stray away from the truth because we're too afraid of losing black women's financial support. Let me tell you something. You don't see those black women popping up over here to support my stuff no more. But that's the risk you take when you real, bro. That's when I tell you, brothers, you got to support channels like this because I'm gonna give you the truth. I'm gonna give you the truth. I don't fear that, bro. But it's messed up that brothers, they stray away from the truth because they're too afraid that they're going to lose the bag. They're too afraid that black women might stop supporting their platform, so they won't tell the truth. That's why you're not going to see that's why you're not going to see brothers from these conscious communities even talking about this story. They're going to pretend like it never happened, or they're going to pretend like they never heard of the story. You ain't going to see none of those dudes cover this story. So when I cover these stories, when I'm honest about what's going on, I need the brothers to pull up and support content because I'm going to continue to drop content like this. Listen, if black women going to get mad and quit supporting, what we're going to do is we're going to build a genuine audience we're going to build an audience of people who want to hear the truth, even if we got to hold FBA people accountable sometimes. Without cooning, without tap dancing. But at some point, we still got to hold our people accountable because there's a whole lot of this going on. Listen, bro, I got a whole catalog of FBA women who are divestors who's been unalived by white men. I got a whole catalog full of live streams like this.
She should have never lost her life. Never. But a lot of times, if you're dating and you're not looking at the red flags, it can really cost you. And it cost her. This dude was going state to state assaulting women. And the thing about women do have good intuition when it comes to people. Women can read people very well, which is why I'm also surprised when they end up with the type of men they end up with, and how they can end up with a guy who's probably a groiper.
That's because they lack discernment. These women don't have all that intuition that they claim to have. If women had great intuition, why do they end up with some of the worst men? Even when they date black men, they date some of the worst black men. Then they date some of the worst white guys. So we can't say that these women are smart, intelligent, and they have all this intuition. You know what's crazy? When you see a black woman who's educated, but she got 3 or 4 baby daddies, but she got a college degree and she's supposed to be so damn smart, but she's terrible when it comes to picking men. Maybe it's because she's not a good woman and these are the only men that she can attract. Think about it.
Who's probably, you know what I'm saying, is one of these guys that probably talk a whole lot of, you know, stuff about black people and whatnot. But he's dating a black girl who clearly was, now, it doesn't say that she broke up with him.
Man, we got to stop saying, how do we know she FBA, man? We got to stop saying that, man. We got to stop saying that, man. There's too many FBA people who want to throw this off on tethers, and I'm sick of that, bro. I'm sick of that. When black men do stupid stuff, do you see Red Supreme saying, oh, man, that was a tether? No, you don't. If I got to hold ninjas accountable, I'm going to hold ninjas accountable. You don't see Red Supreme blaming everything on tethers when a black person does something foul. I don't care if it's a black man or a black woman. If they're FBA, I'm still going to hold them accountable. I'm not going to make it seem like these are all tethers.
It just said that he beat her up. Now, I would hope that she was looking to do that. That's probably what had happened. He was losing control of his black girlfriend. And because he was losing control of his black girlfriend, he thought that by beating her up, that would change things, but it didn't. And he took her life because he's mentally unstable. He's probably an incel. He probably just now started getting girls. Dude probably wasn't getting girls like that. When these guys
I'm not talking about you, Mr. Diplomatic Swag. Mr. Diplomatic Swag, I rock with you and you cool, bro. I welcome you over here on the platform. I'm talking about FBA people as a whole have a major problem and they want to blame a lot of this stuff on tethers when in reality, a lot of these people are foundational black Americans. A lot of your divestors, I've been doing this content for a long time, bro. I used to go in on divestors all the time. A lot of those divestors are FBA women. They're not all tethers. I've done my homework. I've done my research. A lot of these females, black females who's been unalived by their white zaddy, a large percentage of these women are foundational black Americans, not tethers. I've done my homework on this, brother. I've been doing this too long to not know. The reason why is I know for a fact that a lot of people are going to say that they're tethers. So I do my homework and research first. And I say, nope, wasn't a tether. I'm going to cover the story. Listen. If you if you look at this divestment movement, divested black women, and you listen to these channels and you do your research on these women, a lot of these women are FBA. They're not tethers. There's a whole divestment movement full of FBA women on social media. I've been covering these stories for years now. Cynthia G is FBA. Prime example, Cynthia G is FBA. One of the biggest black male haters on YouTube, one of the biggest black male haters on social media is FBA, which is Cynthia G. Come on, man. We got to stop pretending and be real. Cynthia G is the queen of hating on black men, and she's foundational black American. She ain't no damn tether.
All they can do is beat up. Because that's probably how he grew up. He probably grew up with violence being done to him. And his only way to deal with disagreements and rejection is to beat up, because he's deep down, he's an incel. He's a loser.
Cynthia G followers are FBA. Shout out to Perfection and Progress. The majority of Cynthia G supporters, subscribers, and followers are FBA women. Come on, y'all. Are we going to pretend like we don't see what's going on? I'm gonna have to separate myself from a whole lot of people if we can't call out this obvious nonsense. Because at this point, this is nonsense. It is obvious. We gonna pretend like we don't see what's going on? Nah, man, I can't do that. I can't do that.
And he went out bad. Okay, this dude went out bad. And this is why, ladies, especially you black women that want to date outside your race, you better vet these dudes, because we are seeing a rise in crime in these relationships with white men and black women that is very much so underreported in the media. Everybody want to focus on who black men are with. You know, there are black women that
Shout out to JD Black. Everybody want to focus on who black men with, and stories like this, they're underreported. Foundational black American men ain't covering these stories. And if they are foundational black American men, these are men who they don't make FBA content. They make content about relationships and dating, like your JD Blacks, your Red Supremes. Even though I cover FBA content, see, the problem with my content is this: I make FBA content, but I hold black women accountable at the same time. That's why a lot of FBA women don't rock with me no more. That's why they don't like me, because I hold the women accountable. If you guys been rock with me for a long time, haven't you noticed anytime I make videos holding our women accountable, the FBA community gets pissed off and you don't see them show up no more? I'm pretty sure you guys seen it, bro. I'm not making this up. Go look at my content when I just talked about immigrants and what's wrong with white folks. Look at all the people we had in the chat room supporting. The moment that I started to hold the women in our community accountable for what they were doing, those people stopped showing up. So what does that tell you about that community? Come on, homie, 2 + 2 is 4. They got a major problem anytime you hold that woman accountable. That's the problem. You're supposed to ignore it. You're supposed to pretend like you don't see it.
With violence being done to him. And his only way to deal with disagreements and rejection is to beat up, because he's deep down, he's an incel. He's a loser. And he went out bad. Okay, this dude went out bad. And this is why, ladies, especially you black women that want to date outside your race, you better vet these dudes, because we are seeing a rise in crime in these relationships with.
We got a lot of simps and divestors in the FBA community. We do. It's a whole lot of simps and divestors in our community. And then you got a lot of black women who don't like hearing the truth. You know what they're going to say when they hear this content? I'm bashing black women, when all I'm doing is just telling the truth about what's really going on. That's all I'm doing. But it's a problem for me to tell the truth, especially about the women in our community. Yeah, that's a major problem.
White men and black women that is very much so underreported in the media. Everybody want to focus on who black men are with. You know, there are black women that made fun of black men who lost their life to their white girlfriend, or because of their white girlfriend, because they talked about how they like white women. But what I want to show y'all is that if you don't vet, it could cost you everything. So let me know in the comment section. Love me your thoughts. Like this video and share it. Follow me on all my social media platforms, and I'll see y'all next.
All right, now listen, I'm gonna show y'all this next video. I told you I'm a prime example of women don't want to hear the truth, bro. All I did was point out the fact that we got a lot of bed wenches and divestors in our community, and they're not tethers. Check this out, bro.
Brian Coulter is charged with murder in the case.
I covered this story like 3 years ago, man. This white man right here, he unalived his black girlfriend's son, and she didn't do anything about it.
Coulter's girlfriend, the child's mother, also facing charges. 3 other children were found abandoned in that apartment unit. Our Brittany Jeffers is live downtown with what's expected to happen this morning. Brittany?
Yes, Brian Coulter due in district court at 9 o'clock this morning. But the question is, will he appear? We'll be there if he does. But yesterday he was being evaluated at a mental health unit, being held on $1 million bond. Now, the sheriff has commented on this case, saying that it seems too horrific to be real.
far as we knew, she moved out of that apartment complex because the last place we seen was the other apartments that she and the boyfriend were at.
Relatives are speaking out days after deputies found 3 children abandoned in an apartment with skeletal remains. Yasmin Craig says she's the cousin of Gloria Williams. Williams went before a judge yesterday, now charged with injury to a child and tampering with evidence. Williams' boyfriend, Brian Coulter, is charged with murder.
Now, he unalived her son.
And the death of Williams' 8-year-old child. Craig says the last time that she spoke with Gloria was back in June, and family. Yasmin Craig says she's the cousin of Gloria Williams. Williams went before a judge yesterday.
Now look at her. She let that white man unalive her son, and they left his body in a bedroom for at least a month. It could have been longer than that. And she had other children living in the house, and they just locked the body in a room. She let this white man do this to her child.
Relatives are speaking out days after deputies found 3 children abandoned in an apartment with skeletal remains. Yasmin Craig says she's the cousin of Gloria Williams. Williams went before a judge yesterday, now charged with injury to a child and tampering with evidence. Williams' boyfriend, Brian Coulter, is charged with murder and the death of Williams' 8-year-old child. Craig says the last time that she spoke with Gloria was back in June, and family asked about the children.
You kept saying, okay, they're good, they in school. Anytime we did go help, where the kids at, how they doing? Oh, they in school.
The sheriff says it was a 15-year-old who called 911 on Sunday, alerting authorities that his brother had been dead for a year and his body was in the apartment. The teenager also said his parents hadn't lived in the apartment for months.
This one's up there. You know, this one affected us.
Yesterday, the Harris County Sheriff's Office shared details about the deplorable conditions the 3 brothers, who were 15, 10, and 7 years old, were living in.
We saw soiled carpet, no furniture at all. No bedding, no blankets, nothing like that we could see.
The kids deserve justice, and they need help. They need the physical and the mental help to get over this trauma and put them back on a right track of life.
So the building that you see behind me, that is where Coulter will be appearing again at 9 o'clock this morning. As for Williams, her court date set is for tomorrow. Reporting live, Brittany Jeffers, KPRC.
So you see this, man. Listen, another man. Look, check this out. This is another story I got. Check this out.
The only thing Maria Florinda Rios.
Hold on. I'm not even going to talk about that one, man. I'll say that one for another one. Whitestown, man, right? I'm gonna cover that story that I did yesterday, too.
And trial is underway for a man charged with murdering his girlfriend's 8-year-old son and then leaving the boy's body in an apartment with his 3 siblings.
Fox 26's Jonathan Mejia has spent the day in the courtroom. He's joining us live from downtown. Jonathan.
Yeah, that's right. Brian Coulter's trial began this week. Now, he was hearing from witnesses that took the stand today. We heard from the children's adoptive mother, the 2 surviving children's adoptive mother, and she tried to plead a case on why the children shouldn't testify today, although the judge...
Look at him. There you go right there. He the one that did that to that 8-year-old child.
Allowed them to testify, although they
look at him walking like the penguin.
Hearing from witnesses that took the stand today, we heard from the children's adoptive mother, the 2 surviving children's adoptive mother, and she tried to plead a case on why the children shouldn't testify today, although the judge allowed them to testify, although they were able to do so through a monitor screen, because the judge said they would be intimidated if they had to sit and take the stand in front of Coulter. And the details from the 10-year-old that spoke, very, very chilling details. He mentioned how he lived in a room. He was able to identify that room, and he stated that he couldn't leave that room unless Coulter, which they identify him as Blue, allowed them to. He said that Blue, Coulter, would bring them food to that room, and he would only let them leave to use the bathroom. Now, on that day where his older brother, Kendrick, was allegedly beaten to death by Coulter, he says the reason why Coulter beat his brother was because he was being selfish. So when the state asked him what did he mean by that, he said that his brother, Kendrick, had drinking all the water in that room, and that led Coulter to beat him significantly to his death, allegedly. Now, the 10-year-old boy, he was able to identify and realize.
Now ask yourself, how come none of these conscious brothers make videos or cover content that talks about stuff like this? Like if we can't be honest with our women, how the hell we gonna lead them? How you gonna lead a group of women if you can't even be honest with them, bruh? I think I'm gonna start a whole nother movement, like FBA, but at the same time, we gotta hold the women accountable. Now you're gonna see me hold the brothers accountable, FBA black men, but we hold women accountable over here. We got to bring in a whole new audience, man, because that old audience, man, something is wrong with them, bruh. I don't need people like that. Like if you get offended because I hold a black woman accountable, then you're just pathetic, bruh. I'm not gonna pander to these women. I'm not gonna pander to people. I gotta be honest with y'all. I don't want to make content for people who don't want to hear the damn truth.
What had happened, he saw that Coulter had put a blanket over his brother's body. He said that he recognized a lot of maggots and moths around his brother, and he took a peek through that blanket, and that's when he said his brother was no longer alive. He saw his brother in bones. Now again, the judge did tell us and advised us not to name these children because they are minor, so we're only identify them by the age. And the 12.
Shout out to Fresh always for the super chat. Let's get some of you brothers to either bless the super chat or bless the cash out. Let's get some contributors. Let's get some people, because guess what? I'm starting a whole new movement. I don't want to deal with the crowd. I don't want to deal with that old crowd of people because it's obvious they don't like hearing the damn truth. So what I'm doing, I'm creating a whole nother movement on YouTube, right? And we still gonna stand on black business, but we got to be honest with the women. When it's time to hold them accountable, we got to hold them accountable. You know, I'm gonna create a whole new algorithm for this channel. That's exactly what we got to do, because I got to take this game in the direction that I want to take it in, because I don't want my content to get mixed up with people who feel like they got to pander to black women to get money. I can't do that, homie.
4-year-old was also taking the stand, but we had to come out here and report, so we missed that, what he was saying on the stand. But again, just very chilling details about what happened that day and the ongoing abuse. Now we know that Coulter throughout the day today, we just saw the back of him. You know, we saw he had longer hair than what his mugshot had a couple years ago. He seemed to put on a little bit more weight, but we're expecting to hear from the mother. Her name is Gloria Williams, as she is expected to be in court tomorrow as her trial begins. Count on Fox to keep you updated both on air and online at fox26houston.com. For now, I'm live in downtown. Jonathan Mejia, Fox 26 News.
Fox 26 News, right?
All right, Mr. Coulter, please stand. All right, Mr. Coulter, after considering all the evidence in this case and the arguments from counsel, the court hereby finds you guilty of capital murder as charged in the indictment. Is there any legal reason now, sir, why the court should not pronounce sentence?
No, Your Honor.
Okay. So, Mr. Coulter, as legally I'm required to do by law, after having been found guilty, I hereby, having been found guilty of capital murder as charged in the indictment, I hereby sentence you to life without parole, and you shall stay in the Texas Department of Criminal Justice for the remainder of your life. And with that, State, are there any victim impact statements?
No, Your Honor.
All right. Mr. Coulter, have a seat. Mr. Coulter, I've been practicing criminal law 24-ish years. I've seen everything. I thought I had heard everything. I actually thought I'd gotten pretty good at compartmentalizing things that occur up here when I go home to my own family and my own life. But that stopped with this case. This is probably one of the most horrific set of facts that I have ever had to witness, to listen to, and to imagine. And especially as the fact finder on a capital murder, when I had to painstakingly listen, take notes, as both sides deserve, to be fair, and to go over every single one of those exhibits, along with listen to your...
He ain't never getting out of prison, and she let this dude do this to her 8-year-old son, man, and she went along with it. They left his body in that apartment for months, at least 1 month.
voice, to Gloria Williams' voice, and to Jordan's voice.
Yeah, that's a white supremacist tat. That warrior tat on his neck, he's a white supremacist, right? He's from some white supremacist group. I'm pretty sure of it. Have you ever heard of the Aryan Warriors, the Aryan Circle? Yeah, those are white supremacist gangs. Now, she laid over with this redneck racist, and he unalived their 8-year-old son. That woman is pathetic.
And sir, those children have haunted me this last week. They have haunted my mind, and they have interrupted my safe space when I leave this building. This is Child Abuse Month. I don't know if you know that. April is. How you, sir, could have done what you did to those children when you look at them in the face, children that you led to believe were your own kids. You represented their father. You told them that. You told them in such a way that the oldest child did your bidding for you. He stayed in his own bedroom, and he went in and did what you told him to do because they trusted you. They loved you maybe as a father because that's what you led them to believe, all right? And, you know, I think about what those kids went through. I think about all 3 of them and their injuries. I think about how you could look at each and every one of them and hit them in the face. So much so that in the end, one had to have jaw surgery. And so the courage that they had to testify in this case.
Oh, no, I said one of the kids had to get jaw surgery. Where was your family members? You let this white man beat on your kids and nobody in the family stepped up? They just allowed this to happen? Where was the men in the family? You gonna let this white man torture these kids? That's a pathetic woman, man. She's a...
All 3 of them and their injuries. I think about how you could look at each and every one of them and hit them in the face. So much so that in the end, one had to have jaw surgery. And so the courage that they had to testify in this case, and I hope they all 3 of them remaining will go on and live a very, very healthy, happy life. I'm also very satisfied to see that they both seem to have loving, caring people to take care of them. One family testified, I understand, on her birthday, and then as Jordan testified, I saw a whole group of people that loved him, that sat in the courtroom, watching him, being there for him, and supporting him as he sat in this witness stand and testified before you, sir. So you have been in this court since the very beginning, and now you will leave this court, but you will not leave my mind from what I had to hear. And I hope, sir, when you're in prison, I hope those same boys that have haunted my mind haunt yours. And so with that, this is concluded.
He's a devil, man. He don't have no pity or no remorse, right? He, in his mind, he probably felt like he did the right thing because he's sick. And what's crazy is that a black woman would even lay up with somebody like this. That's crazy.
Anything else from either side?
Judge, we respectfully, I'm sorry.
Okay.
We respectfully give notice of appeal.
All right, very good. All right, Mr. Coulter, if you'll come forward to sign the judgment, sir.
All right, let's go back to this other clip right here, man. Let's go back. Let's go back to the original story, man.
He's still locked.
Described as life-threatening. Officers found his girlfriend, 23-year-old.
Now I got this from The Family, man. The show, this channel is called The Family, so fair use, man. This is what happened to the 23-year-old chick in Baton Rouge, man. Check game.
Stasy Charles stabbed several times around 2 o'clock this morning.
Nobody wins when
And highway and then setting himself on fire. Paramedics rushed Stephen Heinrich Jr. to the hospital with severe burns described as life-threatening. Officers found his girlfriend, 23-year-old Stasy Charles, stabbed several times around 2 o'clock this morning on Old Hemmon. She did not survive. Investigators say after stabbing the victim, Heinrich then drove off, crossed into oncoming traffic, intentionally hit another vehicle, and then set himself on fire.
Fam, some stories remind you why people say be careful what you ask for. Over the weekend, a young woman lost her life in one of the most tragic ways imagined.
Beautiful young woman too, man. We have to say she's very attractive, beautiful, but something was wrong with her mentally. For you to praise white people, white men. See, just because I hold black women accountable don't mean that I worship white women. I'm not one of those channels. You don't see me worshiping you don't see me worshiping white women. You don't see me worshiping non-black women. I don't worship women. If they're beautiful, I say they're beautiful. But if it's time to hold them accountable, I will hold them accountable. I don't worship women, but if they do good things, and I'll compliment them on the great things they do. But at the same time, if they do something stupid, I'll hold them accountable. I don't care if she is an FBA woman. When it's time to be held accountable, it's time to be held accountable. I don't care what race you are. So this is crazy.
At first, she was reported missing, and when she was found, it was on the side of the highway with multiple stab wounds. But the moment investigators dug deeper, one thing became painfully clear. This young woman had done everything humanly possible to protect herself. Not one, not two, not three, not even 4 or 5, but 6, fam. That's right, 6 out-of-state restraining orders. A devastating example of a man who simply couldn't move on. But it raises a bigger question.
So she left him. I guess she didn't want to be bothered with him anymore. Then he stalked her and hunted her down and then unalived her. Then after he unalived her, he pretty much set himself on fire, did the unthinkable.
Don't talk about enough, honestly. Why 2, not 3, not even 4 or 5, but 6, fam. That's right, 6 out-of-state restraining orders. A devastating example of a man who simply couldn't move on. But it raises a bigger question. We don't talk about enough, honestly. What happens when you follow every step they tell you, every legal route, every safety measure, and it still isn't enough? Even in this case, though, which we'll later check out, this woman went to social media and asked God for a certain type of man. It still wasn't a man she thought. And even after exhausting every resource she could, this young lady...
She went to social media and begged God for a white man. My God, this is pathetic. This is a waste of beauty. There's a whole lot of FBA women who think like this, right? And I got to be honest. Yes, you got tethers who do this, but you got a lot of FBA women who think like this as well. There's no shortage of them. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna create a whole playlist of these women who were unalived by these white men. You know, these so-called black women who hate black men. I got a whole catalog full of videos like that, bruh. If you go back to 2022, from 2022, I've covered several stories similar to this.
She still lost her life. Every step they tell you, every legal route, every safety measure, and it still isn't enough. Even in this case, though, which we'll later check out, this woman went to social media and asked God for a certain type of man. It still wasn't a man she thought. And even after exhausting every resource she could, this young lady still lost her life at the hands of a man who later took his own by setting himself on fire. And of course, you know I did more research, fam. Once I started to dig, it got even darker. Through my research, I was able to come across other victims connected to the same man. People whose story didn't get the same spotlight. People whose pain deserved to be heard tonight. And we're going to shine a light on all of them. Today, we're going to break down everything. Her last moments when she posted on social media.
You know, it's crazy. These faceless channels do better than a lot of channels where people get on camera. I might have to create me a faceless channel. I think we'll get more supporters if I just did a faceless channel and just talked about it and left my face off of the screen. Because a lot of these dudes who don't get on camera, they get a whole lot of views just covering stories. I got to switch my game up, man. Maybe we can get a better audience if I did that.
Media, the painful irony behind the things she wished for. Who this man is, his criminal history, and where he come from. Not to mention, shine light on the other victims who were affected long before this final tragedy. But before we go over this one, I want you guys to remember, I won't give you no angle. I just give you the story. So with that being said, make sure you like, comment, and 20. According to friends, she was loving, caring, and most of all, family-oriented. She was active on social media, and it seemed the platform she used the most was X, formerly known as Twitter. She posted a number of pictures. They were beautiful. There she would also repost and make tweets of her own. A couple months ago, she wrote a post, "Send a white boy my way." Not sure.
Yeah, she was begging for a white man. She begged for a white man, and oh yeah, she got one.
Also repost and make tweets of her own. A couple months ago, she wrote a post, "Send a white boy my way." Not sure how, but she quickly linked up with the guy identified as Stephen Henrich Jr., a white man that had a thing for allegedly putting his hands on women. Now, this a man back in September of 2024 had a criminal complaint filed against him and a restraining order on not only him, but his dad and his mother by a woman identified as Somalia Clark. I tried to look up the complaint, but unfortunately it was locked. But we'll later hear from a woman who spoke up against this around the same time, and we might have identified the two without even knowing. But now we got an idea of who this man is and how we give it up according to the public view. Not aware of how Stephen give it up, Stasy gave Stephen a chance. And in earlier 2025, they would kick it off, start a relationship, but things quickly went south. Court records show that Stasy filed a restraining order on October 6, 2025.
Well, you asked God to give you a white man. You got what you was looking for. I mean, she did get what she was looking for. She said, "Send a white boy my way," and she got one. This is
to prevent Stephen, well, at least try to, from going near Stacy's work or school. In those records, Stasy alleged that Stephen had stalked her, punched her, and threatened her.
I'm sick of that. I'm sick of that, bro, because we got too many FBA people trying to blame this on tethers and don't want to admit that there's a whole lot of FBA women who are a part of this divestment movement. There's a lot of FBA women that rock with this divestment movement. Look at Cynthia G. Cynthia G is FBA. The majority of Cynthia G followers are FBA women. Of course, you're going to have some tethers in there, but there's a large percentage of FBA women. There's a large percentage of FBA women who support Cynthia G and her message. Tons of them. So we got to quit playing these games and pretending like all these women are just tethers. Nah, man, I can't rock with that. I'm sick of people making these excuses. It's irritating to listen to this stupid stuff every day. These niggas are, these dudes do everything in their power to where they ain't got to hold black women accountable for nothing. These dudes act like it's a crime to hold black women accountable.
Life over the past year. 1 month later, November 5th, 2025, Stasy contacted police about a battery that resulted in Stephen's arrest. He posted a $2,500 bail, but then not even 2 weeks. Just 8 days later, the Baton Rouge Police Department said a 23-year-old woman had died from a stabbing on Old Hammond Highway, with the suspect setting himself on fire afterwards. And at that time, police didn't release the identity of the victim or the suspect. Police said they responded at around 12:13 a.m. and saw Stacey Charles, 23, lying in a parking lot in the 12,000 block of Old Hammond Highway.
Shout out to the family, man. I appreciate you for posting this content and piecing everything together. I think, but he does a good job at what he do, though. I ain't gonna lie, like he does a good job. JD Black does a good job at what he does a great job. He does a great job, man. He piece a lot of these stories together, and they give you visuals, but they don't get on camera at all. You know, they don't get on camera at all. They don't want none of the YouTube fame. They don't want none of that. They post their content, they get their money, and they log the hell off. But great job right here. She said, listen, send me a white boy. She begged God to send her a white man. This woman literally begged God.
Several severe stab wounds. She was taken to the local hospital and died during surgery. May she rest in peace. I love her condolences to her family. Officers also responded to a crash nearby, where they determined Stephen Henrich Jr. was involved in both the crash and stabbing. According to BRPD preliminary reports, Stephen arrived at Charles' residence and began ramming his vehicle into hers. He then removed her from the vehicle, stabbed her, and then drove away. While fleeing, he intentionally entered the oncoming lane of travel, resulting in a head-on collision with another vehicle. While in his vehicle, after the crash, Stephen set himself on fire. He was taken to the hospital with life-threatening injuries, police said, and confirmed the following day that he died from his injuries.
Haley, thank you. We are learning more details tonight about the man accused of stabbing his girlfriend this morning on Old.
If you type her name in a search engine, you're not going to find anything. I'm going to type her name in a search engine and see if it pops up on YouTube right now.
To a crash nearby, where they determined Stephen Henrich Jr. was involved in both the crash and stabbing. According to BRPD preliminary reports, Stephen arrived at Charles' residence and began ramming his vehicle into hers. He then removed her from the vehicle, stabbed her, and then drove away. While fleeing, he intentionally entered the oncoming lane of travel, resulting in a head-on collision with another vehicle. While in his vehicle, after the crash, Stephen set himself on fire. He was taken to the hospital with life-threatening injuries, police said, and confirmed.
Nah, you're not going to find it, man. You got to go digging to find this story. I mean, you really got to go digging to find it. Shout out to the Family TV. His name is the Family TV. He drops a lot of good content. So get on over there, man, and, watch his content. He pieced a lot of these good stories together, man. So does JD Black, man. I think they do a great job at what they do.
The following day that he died from his injury.
They do a good job over there, man. Let me put it like that. But yeah, man, then he set himself on fire. Something had to be wrong with this dude. He was mentally ill. You got to be mentally ill to do something like this. She asked for a white boy and she got what she prayed for.
Haley, thank you. We are learning more details tonight about the man accused of stabbing his girlfriend this morning on Old Hammond Highway and then setting himself on fire. Paramedics rushed Stephen Heinrich Jr. to the hospital with severe burns described as life-threatening. Officers found his girlfriend, 23-year-old Stasy Charles, stabbed several times around 2 o'clock this morning on Old Hammond. She did not survive. Investigators say after stabbing the victim, Heinrich then drove off, crossed into oncoming traffic, intentionally hit another vehicle, and then set himself on fire.
Now at that point, all hell broke loose for people who knew Stasy. It was really upset, and some of them voiced their frustration on social media.
Stasy Charles, that's her name. I think her name was Stasy Charles.
Hitting that a girl who used to talk to Stephen had called Stasy, or at least confronted her about him, and tried to give her some warnings. Now, this made one girl livid. She went on an Instagram page that she made that day and aired out every information she had on Stephen. She wrote, I probably should have put a...
Go to YouTube and type in Stasy Charles. You're not going to see anything pop up. Nothing.
Stephen had called Stasy, or at least confronted her about him, and tried to give her some warnings. Now, this made one girl livid. She went on an Instagram page that she made that day and aired out every information she had on Stephen. She wrote, I probably should have put a jump scare warning. I'm sorry. Trigger warning for the next couple of posts regarding Stacy's story and how severely failed she was.
Well, of course he dressed like FBA, man. He wants to appeal to black women. So he's gonna dress like us, like everybody else do. It is what it is, man. She begged for a white man. She got what she was asking for, man. You got to be careful for what you wish for.
All be enraged. Hashtag justice for Stacy's child. The next post was his recent arrest news article. Written on the post, the system failed the F out of you, and there ain't else to say. The next post, it was a lot, but let me break it down. She wrote, September 10th of last year, 2024, I posted about the man who has been relentlessly harassing my best friend and me and everyone she associates with. He started the harassment May 30th, 2024. It's been 532 days of non-stop harassment. 532 days of watching my best friend beg the police to do something. She wrote,
all right, man, listen, man. I don't want to use this whole video, man. I think you guys got the picture. Let me use we'll run it for a little bit longer. But I think I done said everything I needed to say.
Yesterday morning, the same man brutally stabbed and killed a woman he was also harassing, drove his car into ongoing traffic, and tried to kill himself by lighting himself on fire. An innocent woman just lost her life because police have neglected yet another story.
Now, you got to be psychotic to not only do this to this woman, but then at the same time, burn yourself up. Something has to be seriously wrong with you. For one, I'm not going to do nothing to no woman because she don't want to be with me. It ain't that serious. Then I'm not going to take my life because some woman don't want to be with me. Something was wrong with this dude. He had mental health issues. Clearly something was wrong with him. Now they say he was stalking his woman and the police ain't did nothing about it. They look at it like, hey man, we get calls like that every day with men stalking women. So they didn't look at this case like it was anything out of the ordinary. They didn't look at this case like it was anything special. This is just another day at work. They get calls every day about some crazy man stalking a woman. So they looked at it like, well, when he comes around, call us, we'll show up. They didn't look at it. They didn't make a big deal out of it.
Case, and I'm effing devastated. Now if you zoom in, I'm assuming that's the post she wrote back in 2024. I can't really read it, but she basically saying this is the man who has been aggressively harassing my friend and anyone associated with her every single day for 4 months straight. She then going to talk about then how he was harassing her, making fake pages, calling her job hundreds of times, etc., etc. Now the next
man, this dude was hooked, man. I don't know what she did to this dude, man, but she had this dude hooked.
Post was a post she sent to Stasy herself. Now before we read the message, this is what she had to say on that post. I took it upon myself to warn Stasy about this man months ago because police were not moving fast enough, and I thought I could do my due diligence by at least letting her and others know.
Whoa.
She had my info to reach out if anything, showed her the thousands of evidence I had. She ended up reaching out to me a few times about concerning situations regarding him. The most prominent being last week when he flew to Baton Rouge, held her hostage in her home and beat her. He was arrested and let out basically the next day, which we mentioned, for $2,500, despite being on probation.
So he flew to Baton Rouge, beat her up, and bailed out the next day. That's crazy. It's like, Lord Jesus, like where was your family members at? Where was all the pookies in your family? Huh? How come you didn't call the hood cats in your family to say, hey man, I got this dude harassing me. I need y'all to pop out, man, and you know, something.
My friend's case, where he had 13 harassment charges and 1 felony harassment charge. The message wrote, hey love, we don't know each other, but the man you're seeing right now has been stalking and harassing me almost every single day since last year. He does the same thing to my best friend. He's moved into my whole family, my job, etc. I've never even met him before, but he used to talk to my friend for a short period of time until he went insane out of nowhere. He's extremely racist, yet he targets black women. I'm literally only messaging you because I don't want to see this happen to yet another black woman. It's literally turned.
Y'all remember the DJ Kid dude from years ago in South Carolina? He infected a gang of women out there with HIV. The DJ Kid dude, the white boy who was a DJ, went around sleeping with black women in the South Carolina area, infected a gang of women. That's how you know they was busting that thing wide open for dude, man.
He's been arrested already and still hasn't stopped. He was checked into a mental hospital like last month and came out and still continues. I can send you thousands and thousands of screenshots of proof of everything. Only thing I ask is you don't send him the messages for both of our safety. Just trying to be a girl's girl here. Now the next post, apparently the girl sent Stasy a message and photo after Steven just beat her up on the first week of November before getting arrested. The girl wrote, sorry, I got a free second to look at this. Are you okay? And is he still locked up? Do you want me to have his probation officer reach?
Shout out to Diamond Boy, man. Shout out to Diamond Boy for sending a little support on the Cash App. Shout out to you.
Out to you. You need to make sure he's locked up for good. This has gotten beyond out of hand. He's doing the exact thing I warned you he would do, and he really needs to be stopped. The girl said, please make your family and friends aware because I'm nervous if he gets
and
out.
What's crazy is this. Shout out to Cat 6 Cable Guy for sending me the video. It got 354 views and it was posted 17 hours ago. This story only got 354 views. And what news station is this? Hold on. It's WBRZ. They got 125,000 subscribers. They posted this video 17 hours ago, and it only has 354 views. That's crazy. I'm going to play it next right after this.
Could do something. She quote, I know, I'm kind of scared also, but they said they're going to call me when he gets released. I hope he doesn't fucking get released. He's violating his probation. He's not even supposed to leave the county. Stacy's response, because yesterday he was saying he's going to go to my job, my parents' house, etc. All type of.
Yeah, this is crazy right here, bro. And the fact that it ain't getting no coverage, no airtime.
Stuff. He kept trying to get me arrested. Crazy. But once I got to the hospital, they seen everything. I was let go. Cause what? Tell him P.O. Boo. The woman responded. I did. So if he calls, please answer. And then in the next post she wrote, it took my friend a whole year of raising absolute hell in the police station just for them to charge him with anything. He got off with a year of probation and mental health check-in. That's all. We have said from the start, nobody is going to do anything until somebody dead. As for me, I couldn't even get any cop to even write up a report. I went to both Queens and Yorktown police.
Shout out to the Family TV, man. I think the Family TV did a good job at getting all the messages, getting all the details, man. And yeah, shout out to you. And listen, his story is way better than the mainstream media. Mainstream media gonna give you some BS story and keep it pushing. Shout out to the Family TV. He did a great job at piecing this stuff together, for sure.
My dad went to Yorktown police. I sent in an effing tip to the FBI. Spoke to the FBI multiple times until they ultimately stopped calling me back. Nobody cared. Our only option was to sue him. So we brought on 3 lawsuits to him to at least make him stop. He didn't. She then wrote, my dad, who was my lawyer, specifically requested from the judge that I be granted an order of protection through the court since
Man, that video only got 354 views, and they posted that video 17 hours ago. So what does that tell you?
police stations didn't take this seriously. It was denied. He texted my dad saying, I found your daughter's address. Order still denied. She then posted that text and said every single text was sent from fake texting apps, which is why police couldn't prove it's him. Even with the overwhelming amount of evidence, a search warrant for his phone could have easily been obtained. But okay. She then posted a message that wrote, hello, if you tell us Rose Grace's address, we will send you $2,000 in Bitcoin. And if you don't, we will contact all of your family members about you. She then wrote on that post, sent to my agent, but still not enough for an order of protection at the bare minimum. She then posted a DM that quoted, I'm going to bury her watch, and she responded on a post, one of thousands of fake pages he made to harass us. Death threats about my friend not taken seriously. She then posted her phone log and said, took it upon myself to basically effing spell it out for the police. I made a document of every single point of contact, every text, every call, every fake page, and this is only a few months. It goes on. While I watch my best friend suffer from severe PTSD and paranoia, is it serious yet? She then posted a text to her mom, can't wait till your daughter dies. I'm going to piss on her grave, if you can even afford one. She wrote one of the many texts to my friend's mom. Is it serious yet? She then posted a cut finger and a photo in the hospital, quoting, is it serious yet? And then she posted one of the last texts I received from this girl. Is it effing serious enough now? I'm assuming from Stasy. She wrote, the knife I said was missing from out my kitchen. Look, what I found it in the plant.
You see what I'm saying? Like, this is crazy right here, man, but I got to cover it. I got to do it. Yeah, that story only got 354 views, man.
In my front door, I 100% believe he would have killed me that night. One of her last venting posts was a picture of Stasy quoting, we did everything we could. Stacy's blood is on the hands of every law enforcement, every judge, every DA who let him slide. Me and my best friend raised hell so he wouldn't end up doing this to anyone. This could have been me. It could have been my best friend. I'm so sorry, Stasy. We didn't even know each other. I just reached out to try to save her life. Rest in peace. The story was tough to do. Stasy, once again, rest in peace and love a condolence.
Yeah, there you go, man. I'm gonna show it to you right here. Now, this is the story they covered on the news, right? Terrible situation.
Heinrich stabbed, lost to domestic violence. Good evening. Thank you for joining us. Family and friends of Stasy Charles say a New Orleans woman who was killed in Baton Rouge last week are celebrating her life.
She was stabbed to death by her ex-boyfriend. The investigative unit's Best Casualty has been following this story closely. She reports tonight from Gretna, where that memorial took place, and has new information on the circumstances that led up to her murder.
Michael, Sylvia, we're here in Gretna, which is near Charles's hometown of Harvey. There were dozens of people, they're still lingering here behind me, that came to celebrate her life, releasing purple balloons in her honor.
The WBRZ investigative unit has obtained more documents showing the rocky relationship history that led to 2 deaths. According to Baton Rouge police, 28-year-old Stephen Heinrich stabbed 23-year-old Stasy Charles to death before crashing his car and setting himself on fire. Court documents show Charles had tried to protect herself from Heinrich multiple times before her death. In a protective order request filed in October in family court, Charles says Heinrich was physically abusive, having checked these boxes saying he punched, shoved, and threatened her life with a weapon. However, in her written description of the abuse, she does not mention violence, instead stating he was relentlessly harassing and stalking her and her family through social media.
He created like any dating site, any type of thing. This man would create a page for my daughter.
It's behavior that Dominique Ramkaran and her family know well.
Everything that he did to my daughter, he was doing to the same girl.
Ramkaran lives in New York, where Heinrich is from. She says he harassed and stalked her daughter for months before he met Charles.
A year and a half, you harassed and stalked my daughter. A year and a half, you have tortured us.
In fact, it got so bad it led Ramkaran to file a civil suit against Heinrich when she says the police wouldn't take it seriously. According to her, he had been arrested in New York for violating a protective order several times.
The system failed both of these young ladies.
In Baton Rouge, Heinrich was never served with that initial protective order by Charles because officers couldn't find him. The matter was ultimately dismissed because Charles didn't show up to court. A month later, Heinrich was arrested for misdemeanor domestic abuse against Charles, and she was granted a protective order. He was issued a $2,500 bond by Commissioner Keena Kimball, and a week later stabbed Charles to death. Ramkaran says her death could have been prevented.
So how does a man that has a flipping assault, like a harassment, has probation, have warrants, were able to slip through the system, get a $2,500 bail, and was able to go back to the same young lady that he harassed and kill her?
District Attorney Hiller Moore is currently out of the country and said he did not want to comment on this case until he has all the facts, which he assures me his office is working to get.
Now, she might be a tether. Now, in this case, this is possible. The mother sounds like she got a little accident or something. So if it's a tether, it's a tether, but it doesn't take away from the fact that we got a lot of FBA women who are part of this divestment movement too. Like I said, if it's a tether, it's a tether. If it's FBA, it's FBA. It don't matter to me. Listen, homeboy, one of the biggest black man haters on social media is Cynthia G, and she ain't no damn tether. Now, that woman did sound like a Jamaican or a Caribbean. I'm just being real. But anyway, we can't make it seem like it's only the tethers that's doing this. Listen, bro, we got to be honest. You got black women, whether they be Caribbean, FBA, or African, there's a whole lot of divestment going on. There's a whole lot of bedwenchery. And if you think I'm lying, go type in divested black women, and you're going to see all the black women who got hatred for black men. And not all of these women are tethers. Some of them are, but a lot of them are not.
What we do know is when Heinrich went in front of Commissioner Kimball for his domestic abuse charge, the DA's office did let her know that he had been previously arrested for violating a protective order as well as a criminal mischief charge, both out of the state of New York. In terms of those protective orders that Baton Rouge police says that they found and that we know exist in New York, it's not sure.
It don't matter if she was a tether or FBA. What I'm saying is you got a lot of black women, period. Regardless if they're tethers or FBA, there's a divestment movement going on. Go look in your search engine and type in divested black women. You're going to see a lot of FBA women. You're going to see some tethers as well. That is a big movement for black women. Don't matter if it's FBA or tethers. There's a whole lot of these black women that's involved in this divestment situation, this divestment movement. Cynthia G was making content 3 years ago telling black women to abort their black male babies. Cynthia G is one of the biggest black male haters on social media, and Cynthia G ain't no damn tether. It's possible that this woman was a tether or her family members are tethers. That's possible, but it don't take away from the fact that there's a large percentage of FBA women who subscribe to this divestment movement. That's a fact.
Why the DA's office did not have that information at the time. We're going to be following this case very carefully, and I promise to bring you the latest information as soon as we get it. Reporting for the investigative unit, Bess Casserly, WBRZ News 2.
All right, I covered this story like a month ago, too. Check this out. Check this out here. This is Bay Area chick, Bay Area, California, right? I want y'all to check this out.
The last location was here, and her last location pinged right here, but we still looked in the area. We looked in garbage cans. We looked everywhere.
Jakeem Green says his family's been looking
Now,
for
this woman in the Bay Area, California, she let this white guy take her in his house, and he did the unthinkable to her, man.
his cousin Renia Lewis since she was reported.
Renia Lewis was unalived by this hamburglar-looking white man, this fat, out-of-shape white guy that looked crazy. He unalived her. I covered this story like in October. Maybe the beginning. I believe it was like the beginning of October or the end of September.
Missing on Sunday. On Tuesday came news that her body was found at this house.
The reaction is just distraught. I was distraught, confused, lost, hopeless.
Neighbors say the house has been boarded up for a long time. Police say the suspect lived in a detached unit in the backyard.
With a search warrant, we were able to do a thorough search, and we located Miss Lewis inside the residence.
In a statement to ABC 7 News, the Vallejo Police Department confirmed that the suspect did confess to killing Miss Lewis. Lewis's body was found behind a concealed entry to the home's attic. Family members believe she was brought here against her will.
If she was to see the house, she's not going to come in. She's not going to do that. So I feel like she was either drugged or under some type of influence or something.
Green says Lewis was in Vallejo on Sunday to visit family. They still don't know how she ended up at this house, and they say she did not know the suspect.
I feel like she
did not know the suspect. I don't know, man. We really don't know. I don't know, man. I don't know what the relationship was.
Her conscience back, and she was fighting for her life. Windows were busted. She was trying to get away and escape.
It's really sad, and it's really scary for...
The other chick name was Stasy Charles, right? The chick that you see in the thumbnail, her name is Stasy Charles. Some people say her mother sounds Caribbean or Jamaican. Maybe so. I don't know. But what I will say is this divestment movement is full of FBA women and Caribbean and African women. It's full of black women, period. I'm not saying all black women are divestors. That's not what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is when you look at this divestment movement, it's full of black women from all different walks of life. FBA women, Jamaican women, Haitian women, Caribbean women, African women. It's full of black women.
A lot of these young ladies out here on the streets of Vallejo.
Yeah, but the chick on the thumbnail, her name was Stasy Charles. This chick right here name is Renia Lewis. Both got unalived by white men. The other chick with the blonde hair in Texas, she let that white man unalive her 8-year-old son, and they left his body in the room.
Community, so it really shook the whole community up.
All day, nearby residents came by to pay their respects.
I wouldn't want to find my daughter like that. You know, we all have children in this world, whether they're grown or little. As a parent, you wouldn't want to find your children like that. So I feel more for the family and the mother, her loss.
The suspect is expected to be in court.
I'm going to show you the guy who did it to her, right? This is the guy. This is the guy who did it right here. I'm going to show you.
What I want you guys to know is Renia was a queen. That's who she was.
That's how Latoya Lewis describes her 28-year-old cousin, Renia. The Vallejo woman disappeared last Friday. After days of searching, her family got the worst news.
So they're trying to say she wasn't dating this man. We don't know what type of relationship she had with this man. We just don't know. We don't know.
Possible on Tuesday. Vallejo police discovered Renia's
Now, what they're going to say is this: well, black men need to start protecting these women. They're going to find some type of way to blame this stuff on us. Do you really think black men and her family knew who she was dating? Do you think black men and her family knew what she was doing? No, she kept it a secret. They didn't know. But they're going to say, well, this wouldn't happen if black men start protecting black women. That's what they're going to say. Well, if you got women who say they ain't going to listen to no man and can't no man tell them what to do, how you going to protect somebody who won't listen to you? That doesn't make sense.
Bird body hidden in the attic of a small detached home on 14th Street.
This is a horrific case. This is a senseless act of violence. that has brought not only tremendous pain to the family, but to our community.
41-year-old Douglas Shaw looked disheveled.
Look at this fool looking like the Hamburglar. This is dude right here.
To our community.
41-year-old Douglas Shaw looked disheveled as he made his first court appearance today. He's charged with 1 count of felony murder. Prosecutors say he used a knife in the brutal killing. Rania's mother tells NBC Bay Area that police told her Rania's body was found dismembered in Shaw's attic, where it was likely kept for days.
He used a knife on her too, just like the white boy in Louisiana used a knife. This fool used a knife.
My hope for him is that he get the death penalty.
The pain of facing the alleged killer in court today was nearly too much for many of Rania's loved ones. They tell us Rania was set to turn 29 on Monday and had so much ahead of her.
Rania, we love you. You know that. You know the heart of your family. You know the blood of this Lewis family would have never stopped looking for you. And one thing is, you will definitely be missed, and it hurts. I'm sorry, baby. I'm sorry.
Shaw, a father of 2, will be back in court next week, where he's expected to enter a plea. In Solano County.
All right, man. Well, listen, man, we're going to wrap this thing up, man. I done covered enough of this content. Make sure that you guys bless the like button and listen. Get in the comment section. You know, you guys are in the live chat. That's cool that you guys are in the live chat. But when a video uploads to YouTube, get in the comments on YouTube and give me your thoughts, man. Let's get the engagement up in the comment section once this video uploads to YouTube. Give me your thoughts. What are your thoughts on FBA people? Could black men do a better job at protecting black women? Or do we say, well, how could we protect a group of women who say they don't need no man and don't need to listen to no man, right? So, you know, let's have a conversation. Let's talk about it. Yeah, California don't have the death penalty no more. That's a fact. So get in the comment section. I'm going to get up out of here. I've been here for 1 hour and 36 minutes. I appreciate everybody for pulling up, but I got to get up out of here, you guys. I'm gone.